Perfect. Click on, drop in the microphone. That should work. All right. Clear off the desk. I'm looking forward to this tonight.
Same here. Always do.
All right. Yep, that's on perfectly. I've got that. Now let's go over to YouTube. All right. That was someone texting me. Let's see. It's funny because when I use all my phones, you know, so anybody texting me pretty much. Oh, there it is. All right, let's see. Who was it? All right, it was right there. No, that was that. Okay. Anyways, I got it. Pop up John Ritz on. There you go. And then let's see. I just gotta check this now. Make sure we got sound, right? So that is probably not supposed to go there. That's better. Let's see about sound. That is probably not supposed to go there. That's better. See about sound. All right. All right, so I got that. We got sound. We're live. Let me just do a quick intro for everybody on YouTube. Thanks for joining us tonight. We monitor comments and repeat all super chats. Let us know what you're drinking and where you're from. There we go. We got that ready to go. All right, that's not supposed to do that. Let's make sure I didn't trash everything. I'm good at that from time to time. All right. That was all set really good. There we go. Wow. A lot of people came on. Just like that. YouTube has been all right. It's showing that it's working. I didn't wreck it. Let's see. 10-4, 10-4. Yep, microphones are all working. So we'll get going right at 8:30 tonight, Greg, right on time. Any updates? I mean, you've been everywhere too, right?
Updates as to what?
I mean, did you enjoy? That was technically a vacation, right? That you took with Susan.
We went down to Islamorada. Some friends of ours rented a condo for a month and invited us down to stay with them a week, and it was perfect. The week we were there, the weather was perfect. It couldn't have been better. Yeah, so we lucked out. It got a little cold after we left.
It was because I mean, honestly, now you were out of the United States, right? You were like in, if I'm not.
That's in the Keys. That's in the Keys.
Okay, so you were as far south as you can go in Florida, in that area.
It's still about 2 hours north of Key West, but it's in the Keys. So
okay, yeah, I know where. I if anybody's ever driven through the Keys to get to Key West, I swear to God, half the time you want to stop because it takes so long. Yeah, but you always go. Did you go down to Key West or no?
Took a day and made a day trip out of it. Yeah, drove down there. Got down there in time for lunch. And,
yeah,
the girls wanted to do a little shopping, so we walked around, had a beer, hog breath, and then came on back. So
I know exactly where you were because if you're doing shopping in all those little stores in Key West, it's right there, right? Right on. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a nice area. I always wanted to go, and last year we went. Uh, and it's kind of a funny story because Alan Bishop knows a bunch of people down there, and I wanted to go to the Key West Trading. It's called the Key West Trading, whatever. Um, I'm just having a mental block on, but we looked that up, and Alan sent us to the last legal, um, the the Keys only legal rum distillery. So they do, it's a rum distillery down there, and I got to meet with the guy. All the names are gone right now, so I'm not going to be able to tell you names, but we had a good time. But that's not exactly where I want. I was talking to the guy online, and I was supposed to be going there. I had a meeting set up, but I had a meeting set up with the other guy. So that was really interesting. And when I got there, I kind of realized I was probably at the wrong place, but that's the place I was supposed to be in the first place. So whatever. It worked out. Anyways, um,
Good.
so yeah, we're planning. I think we're going to be going to Florida to visit my parents. The week of it'll be not this Friday, but we'll leave the following Friday, and then we're gonna kind of pass through the Louisville area on our way down. So we're gonna drive. Are you going to be in
Wow, that's a long drive.
to Florida? Yeah, you could take. We usually take our time. We'll stop a day. We'll stop 2 days in Louisville, and then we'll head down, and we'll probably stop at Super Nash's, in South Carolina. We'll just break it up and enjoy it, and then when we go through the mountains, I always like to stop. I mean, we don't push. We kind of eat lunch we find cool places to eat lunch and that kind of thing.
Smart. Good. Good.
Yeah, we take our
Excellent.
time and then spend 4 or 5 days with my mom and dad, and it's supposed to be high 70s. I'm glad that we waited because there for a while they were like, today's 53 degrees. And when you go to Florida in the
Oh,
middle of
Florida, they ain't there.
yeah, when you go in the middle of the winter, you don't want 53 degrees, right?
What part of Florida they in?
Boynton Beach, which is right near
Yep.
West Palm, that area. So,
Right. Yep.
yep, they
Yeah, I've
retired.
got a client I'm working with down in that area.
Okay. Well, I maybe one time when I'm down there, hopefully you'll be doing a tasting.
Could be. It's I don't know if I told you about it. It's called something Southern. It's a
Hmm.
blended whiskey, something Southern whiskey. Yeah. And young guy, just getting started. But he's based in West Palm. But we do all the processing and bottling, which ought to be coming up here probably sometime in the spring. I'll be down there to do the next run, but I'll be in Fort Pierce. Isla Brewing and Distilling Company have an operation there in Fort Pierce, and that's where they do the processing and bottling.
So, what's since we're not quite yet live, what's your time? Do you got the right amount of time now as far as your management, as far as working and playing and enjoying and doing whatever? I mean, has it got you? What would you say your time commitment at this point is?
I do a lot of consulting right now, and that's okay. I'm enjoying the retirement part of my semi-retirement. So,
Yeah.
but I'm looking. I've actually talked to a couple of other clients, one in particular that I may do some work with here sometime soon. So we'll see.
So you mean there's a chance big news? You know,
About big news, but
I mean, you're just like it's all the people in the industry that go. I mean, do you ever really retire? I mean, you're semi-retired. You're definitely able to do a lot of really nice things and whatever. But as far as you don't, you're just not a guy that just wants. You're not. I mean, what would you be doing if you were all the way retired? You'd probably be doing lots of projects, right?
Well, I enjoy still being involved and being able to share, 48 years of experience, with companies. So yeah.
I mean, when you look at it, when people talk about work that you might not, a lot of times you do something and you got to do the 9 to 5 grind, and you might not, it wouldn't be something that you would want to do if you weren't getting paid. But at the same time, I find that the whiskey industry and the bourbon industry, that a lot of the stuff that you do, it is work. I'm not saying that at all, but it's very enjoyable to do. It's more enjoyable than cleaning the garage. You know,
I don't miss the 9 to 5 grind. Okay. I don't miss that at all. But,
right.
getting to have someone selected and do the fun things, I mean, I'm enjoying, put it that way. It is a lot of fun.
Well, you're a people person, so you like to be by people, and especially people in the bourbon industry. I mean, it's fun. I agree.
Absolutely.
All right, so I'm gonna get this started. And out of all the people on the planet, you know the drill.
Sure.
So I will start it, and we'll get going. Let's see. Chat. I'm gonna. All right, here we go. Start her off.
Drinking bourbon, sipping on some scotch. We get a little wild, but it's sure fun to watch. We love what we do, we're drinking every brew. And we talk some shit, but we're telling the truth. Yeah, we're the Scotchy Bourbon Boys, raising some hell and making some noise. Yeah, we're the Scotchy Bourbon Boys, we're here to have fun and we hope you enjoy. We're here to have fun.
All right, welcome back to another podcast of the Scotchy Bourbon Boys. Tiny here tonight, along with my super guest, Gregg Snyder. Greg, you've been on now so many times that I've lost count. I mean, I went back to count, and I'm like, after like 13, I'm like, you know what? We'll just say we lost count. Welcome to the podcast.
It's always a pleasure to be with you, buddy. Thank you. It's always a pleasure. Yeah.
It's great to have you on. All right, I turned down the volume because that was so loud, but I gotta turn up the volume because they're perfect. All right, so being on the podcast, not only are you on the podcast, as a guest, but a lot of times you're right in straight into the chat online. So sometimes I feel like, we probably now with Randy Prassy and Alan Bishop, who are right there with you, but I think this takes you way ahead of Randy now, and really you and Alan have been really close as far as how many times being on, but by no means, man, you've got them on how many times you've been watching and in the chat and enjoying the podcast. So we just it's just I just want to thank you for all that you help us out with, and you do.
Appreciate that. Yeah, when I have the time, I like checking in and listening to what you got going that particular evening. And if I got something constructive to add, I'll you know me, I'll put it in there in the comments.
Well, there's a lot of constructive stuff that you add to the podcast because of the fact that a lot of the stuff that people are interested in, you're just you lived it. I mean, you were a part of what we're talking about now. From a standpoint of being in it, and Randy said, "How do you have 48 years of experience since you're only 60?" That's a very kind statement, Randy, to Gregg, right? Would you say? But
Right. Yeah.
but how do you? I mean, is it like almost surreal at one point to see where the bourbon industry, because when you first jumped in, when you started at Seagram's way back in, I think it was 1978, if I'm not mistaken, but
That's right.
the bourbon industry wasn't this. By no means. There's people who like to drink bourbon. There's always, people. It's not like everybody talks about when the bourbon, kind of whatever. But I mean, we're only talking, I think, like the 3% of the market. It went down 3%. It's not like bourbon disappeared off the shelves completely. Yes, it was adjustment, but at the same time, people weren't as interested in the history of bourbon as much as they are today. I mean, now people are just want as much information as they possibly can get about the history of bourbon. They like the history that's, the real, you're talking about where it started from in this country. But I mean, did you, when we were in it, did you ever see this evolving into what it is today?
It's hard to predict the future. But, when I got into it in 1978, Jeff, the bourbon industry was just on a real slow decline. And perfect example, and there was a corrective adjustment made back then. I think in 1980, if I recall, there was in Kentucky, I know there was right around 5 million barrels of bourbon. I think today there's something a little over 16 million barrels of bourbon in Kentucky. But in 1978, it was a different phenomenon. If you look back in history, everything's cyclical. Bourbon industry cyclical, vodka's cyclical, gin cyclical, whatever. And at that time period, 1978, people were shifting away from the dark goods, whiskeys in general, to vodkas and rums and the clear spirits. And so that was one thing. But there was definitely an abundance of barreled whiskey in the warehouses. As I said, there was Kentucky alone, there was right around 5 million barrels of whiskey. And Seagram's, right before I started, they actually owned what they call 4 country distilleries. They had a distillery in Cynthiana, Kentucky. They had the Henry McKenna distillery in Fairfield, Kentucky. They owned the one in Athertonville, Kentucky. And then they also had the one Old Prentice in Lawrenceburg, Kentucky. Well, before I started there in June of 1978, the Cynthiana distillery, the Fairfield distillery, and the Athertonville distillery were all mothballed. They were shut down. The only one they had left was, in addition to the Louisville distillery, was the Lawrenceburg, the Old Prentice distillery, which is today Four Roses. And so they were making an adjustment. They had an abundance of surplus of barrel whiskey, and sales, every year the sales was declining.
Yeah, and I think Four Roses is now Julio and Gallo, right? And now people were
EJ Gallo just acquired it. Yeah, that's right.
yeah, which is an American, if I'm not mistaken, that's an American company, is it? Out of California?
Yes.
Which
Yeah, they're huge.
which before who sold it to them was a Japanese company, correct?
So what happened in Seagram's maintained the brand, the Four Roses brand, and kept the distillery up until 2000 when Seagram's got bought out by Diageo and Pernod Ricard. You know, I was working at Wild Turkey at that time, who was owned by Pernod Ricard. But Diageo and Pernod Ricard formed an alliance, and they bought Seagram's. Well, initially, the Four Roses, when they divided everything up, Pernod Ricard actually took ownership of the Four Roses distillery. But for whatever reason at that time, they didn't want it, so they turned around and sold it to Karen Brewing Company, who currently owns it and is in the process. They're kind of shifting I guess, their corporate philosophy, and they're selling it off to EJ Gallo.
So
I think the price tag was somewhere around 775 million.
was that a Japanese company? The brewing company?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So what I noticed is that a lot of they wanted it because a lot of Four Roses was going over there, and the Japanese love Four Roses. Is that going to still be part of the market plan, do you think?
I don't know. It's hard to say. You know, when I worked for Seagram's, it actually goes way back before I started working there. In World War II, Seagram's made a decision. They were only making bourbon, Four Roses bourbon, for the international market. Primarily went to France and to Japan. And in the United States, they converted it to a blended whiskey, and the sales just plummeted. Okay. And so it wasn't a very high quality, I thought, of whiskey back in those days. And then later on, when Seagram still had it and bourbon started picking up, Jim Rutledge, who kind of managed the facility, Jim convinced them to, hey, we got to bring back a bourbon in the United States, and they did. And Jim worked tirelessly to make that happen. I give him full credit for where they've come to today. So,
yeah, that transformation is kind of amazing, and Brent Elliott there does a fantastic job, and I'm just excited now that we're bringing the ownership back into the United States to see what happens. I think you don't buy it to kill it, right?
It'll be interesting to see what Gallo does with it. Gallo's got a lot of strength in the industry. You know, they started out in wine, and then they shifted into the drinks or the wine coolers. You know, dabbled in that, and of course they own High Noon and a lot of these canned beverages now. But they've gotten more and more into the spirit side of the business, and they've got the financial backing to do quite well with it.
Okay. So, when I first was giving you a choice on what picture to take, I mean, I had a row of bourbons in front of in front of you, and you've worked at Wild Turkey, you've worked for Beam, you've worked for whiskey, oh my God, Chicken Cock, you've worked for Four Branches, I mean, Seagram's, which at it was Old Forester, and also so you've worked at so many different places. Um, I'm going to put you on the spot here. What was your favorite place to work? I mean,
where I'm at right today.
So in other words, when that's my answer when someone asks me as a podcaster, what's my favorite bourbon? And I get that a lot from women who, like, friends, of the family and whatever, that know I'm doing this podcast, and they kind of are intrigued by bourbon, and they're not sure, and they're like, "What's your favorite?" And I just tell them it's what's in my glass. It's just that simple, right? I mean, honestly,
Sure.
when you've been at so many different places, and we taste so many different bourbons, and they're so good. It's not like you can. Well, I mean, it's hard for one. What's in your glass right now, right, is exactly what I'm pouring here. The Four Branches Continental, and that we did we've done a podcast on it and everything. But for you, I mean, that's very important to where you're working and what goes in your glass. And it's the same thing. There's so many different ones to choose from. It's hard to isolate on anything else than what's in what you have to be like either working on or not, because you don't have that luxury. Because if you started drinking based off of what you like, we'd as far as what you know, the brand that you want, that maybe other, you know, like when you're not working for anybody, we probably get in trouble. You know, there's only so much whiskey you can drink without becoming an alcoholic. You know what I mean? And that's kind of what we do. We're right on. It's like you do it, but you have to keep it under control. And it's like you don't. I don't actually have an ability to have a favorite because of the fact that what do you go to? I'm like it's whatever's on the podcast is what I'm going to. And I think it's the same with you when you're tasting so much for so many in consulting, you have to taste it, and that's just kind of how it is, right?
There's a lot of great bourbons out there, as you know, Jeff. And so I same thing. I don't have a particular favorite. There's a lot of them that I like, and that's what I stick with.
Well, I am partial to what you made. And even though it's like it's not politically correct at this moment, but I am partial to it because what you did and what you put down is pretty special. So I give you that section of time when you had control over what you were doing. It had to be a blast for you because that puts you in a position that you weren't always in when you were going throughout your career, and to be able to do that had to be pretty spectacular, right?
It is. It's fun. Now, we talked about that a little bit earlier. It's fun for me. I mean, being able to take 48 years of knowledge and experience and focus it on one or two brands, and that's what I tell people. What I bring to the party, hopefully, is a level of integrity and credibility. I'm trying to put the best whiskey out there I possibly can, and that's what I tell people. You've done so much, and I'm just an old man trying to make good whiskey. And that's what I do. With Four Branches or any of the other consulting clients I've worked with, that's my ultimate goal.
Well, I think you do it. I think you do it well. I think you have the knowledge that no matter what somebody's doing, you can add a quality to what they're doing. And as you know, the making of the whiskey is part of the business. The blending of the whiskey is part of the business, and then the marketing of the whiskey is part of the business, and the setup of everything's part of the business. And all of those have to, these days, in my opinion, if you're doing those right, you should and you understand how money works, you should be able to still be able to produce a good product and get it out to the people. But if you don't understand that, that's where I think people are running into trouble at this point. I think that the bourbon boom, you could have called it even the bourbon nuclear bomb. It's not just a nuclear explosion, because it's almost like you could have it didn't matter. You just take a picture of somebody famous and stick it on a crap, you could sell it. And it's not that way right now. And, that's why we had you on tonight. I think that's what's kind of happening right now. It's like you actually have to know what you're doing to be able to sell, but it's not like people who know what they're doing you don't see those people going off to the wayside, right?
It's interesting. I've done a couple of interviews with some various industry publications, and that was the topic we talked about, the state of the industry. And if you read certain things or you listen to certain media, podcast or anything out there that talks about the industry, And it's, I call it the chicken little, the sky is falling, it's collapsing. And I don't think that's true at all. What's happened is, as we said earlier, it's kind of a correcting adjustment, basically. The growth that we experienced over the last, 15 years, maybe, roughly, uh, nobody really saw that coming. We knew bourbon was going to come back at some point in time. When and exactly how fast, that nobody knew that. That's why there was a lot of bourbons allocated early on, because the industry kind of got caught with their pants down. They weren't expecting it, and they only had so much aged inventory. And when the boom took off and people started buying it left and right, they couldn't keep up with the demand. The supply couldn't keep up with demand. So, and that's a good problem to have. So anyhow, that growth is kind of leveled off. Back, it was probably close to 8 years ago. And I may have told you this story. I went and met with Steve Thompson. I don't know if you remember Steve. Steve was one of the co-founders of Kentucky Artisan Distillery. Steve was my boss. He was the president of Brown Forman Beverage Company when I worked at Brown Forman.
I did not know that.
And oh yeah. Steve's a great guy. He's a very smart guy. And he looked at me one day. He said, Greg, where's this all going to end? And I said, what do you mean, Steve? He said, look here. So he showed me the growth. He showed me the sales forecast for the industry in general. And they showed the production numbers and what all these distilleries were producing and had planned to produce with all the capital investments they were making. And it was easy to see the production far exceeded the future forecast, I guess, of the sales side. And so we knew it was going to hit a wall at some point in time, and the growth was going to level off. And now again, just like in the 1970s and 80s, we've got a surplus of aged whiskey now. As I said, back then we had 5 million barrels. In 1980, had 5 million barrels in Kentucky. We got over 16 million barrels in Kentucky now. Looking at the sales, back in 1980, worldwide, I believe bourbon sales were somewhere around 17 million cases. Today, they're around 30 million. So, sales have grown 75% since 1980, let's say. But, we over tripled the amount of bourbon that we have in the industry. So, again, it's got to balance out somehow. I mentioned back in 1978 when Seagram's shut down a lot of their distilleries and they just had the Old Prentice and the Louisville plant. In 1983, they shut that Louisville facility down. Actually, they shut down 2 different facilities, one in Maryland and the one in Louisville, and they consolidated the production operations because it was just economically didn't make sense to have these other facilities running when you didn't need them. You could easily absorb it and handle it at the other locations. So,
well, one of the things which is crazy the last couple years is the amount of distilleries that have come online, that people have built to, and then what people don't realize is there's 16 million barrels in Kentucky, but there's probably another 8 million barrels throughout the United States. So at the time that in the 70s, there just wasn't the same amount of production of bourbon throughout the country because they always said 95, probably back then it was 99% of all bourbon was being made in Kentucky. Now it had dropped down as low as I've heard people say 93, 92%. But at the same time, with all these craft distilleries that popped up in especially the surrounding, states of Kentucky, you're talking Indiana, what the production of Ross and Squibb, they really stepped up to the plate. And when everybody else had a shortage, they were able to meet the demands for people to be able to do something and create brands because they had enough at the time, right? They had more because whether it's because they were from Indiana, I don't know, but they had enough to meet that
talking about
MGP, which
MGP,
yeah. And then since then they've really become a major player in the industry. I mean, purchasing Kentucky distilleries, with Lux Row and everything. I mean, I think they've done a fantastic job. But then you're also looking at, in Ohio, we just put in Middle West Spirits, and that's a distillery the size of 72,000 square foot distillery with their second still being, has been purchased already. It's just not, it takes a while to get a Vendome still of that size and get in line. And so there's so much more outside of that too. But at the same time, what I've been seeing, if you really, really know and pay attention, everybody should be all right. And and then I don't know why the consumer is so upset about this. I'm just like, you guys, this is the greatest thing that ever happened to us. Prices will drop because they're all going to have to compete, because they'll have whatever there'll be to start a brand. Like, you won't have to just go to MGP. There's going to be a surplus of barrels at one point on to be able to purchase, and you'll be able to produce a whiskey that's unique flavor profile, not like these 40 distilleries that all have the same MGP flavor profiles, and you can see some of the distilleries starting to purchase barrels from other places, and that does show into their bourbon, and that also goes for blending, right? Like Scotch, there'll be people who can buy multiple barrels from different places and then put them together to make their own bourbon that's going to have a unique taste. You might have somebody with Beam, MGP, and Wild Turkey all in one, right?
So, yeah.
I mean, isn't that kind of exciting?
Yeah, to some extent. I mean, it is. It's kind of shifted. The market has shifted, for during that boom, aged bourbon, aged whiskey was sold at a premium. I mean, it was hard to find, when I started working with Chicken Guy, to bridge the gap until our whiskey that we were laying down became a proper age. I was out trying to find good quality whiskey that we could acquire and put under the label until the whiskey became of age. Well, that wasn't that easy. Number one, I'm not going to buy something that I wouldn't drink myself. Okay. And so finding good quality whiskey, if you did find it, it wasn't cheap. And so, margins were tight, prices were high. But I think you're right. This correction is going to shift to that. What's happened now, prices for aged whiskey have come way down. And so a lot of the business philosophy, just like Four Branches, there's some great whiskey out there and at reasonable prices. And it doesn't make sense to invest the millions and millions of dollars into a distillery to make your own when you've got available whiskey out there that you can acquire.
Yeah.
And make sure that we have a sufficient amount to sustain the business and the growth.
Well, I hope there's, because kind of like the same thing. I agree with what you're saying. It's out there, it's available, and it's reasonably priced. Even, I was talking with Ricky from the Great Midwest or Great West Virginia Barrel Company, and he was talking about how now, with all that whiskey out there, that even the cooperages are having issues because they don't need as much. They're not pulling they don't need to pull the trees out of the forest. It's at that point they're shutting down the stave making places and everything. And what I think, once again, there's still a demand for barrels, but it's not what it was, right?
That's correct. It is not what it was.
And if anything, this is really good for our forests. You know what I mean? They can kind of catch up. You know what I mean? Because 2 years ago, we were talking about making barrels with trying to figure out different sizes and mass and steel and coming up with different, because we were going to run out of wood, right?
No, we're not going to run out of wood. When I worked, as you know, I worked for Brown-Forman 12 years. 9 of those 12 years, I managed their cooperage operation. So I know a little bit about that side of the business as well. And every month I get a report from the U.S. Forestry Department. And every 5 years they do an inventory. And they don't ask me how they do it, but they take a section and they'll go out and they'll actually count different species of trees And somehow they had a formula they could calculate. And based on comparing to the previous 5 years, had the population grown or diminished? And essentially what happened is that every 5 years, if you look back at these reports, these inventories they took, the inventory of white oak was growing about 15% every year, every 5 years. The reason that is you take a big old oak tree, it takes 80 to 125 years for an oak tree to really mature big enough to make barrels. Okay, takes a long time. Well, you got this big old tree, and a lot of these acorns have fallen out of that tree and started to germinate. Well, once you cut that big old tree out of, remove it, the canopy opens up, and now all these, smaller trees have an opportunity to grow because they're getting sunlight now, and they grow up, and that's where you're getting, 15% growth, every 5 years. And so, I've heard people, gloom and doom and environmentalists say, "Oh no, we're running out of white oak." Yeah, we were harvesting more than what we had in a long time, but there's plenty of white oak in those forests.
Okay, so in other words, the management of the forests has been intelligently managed, right? Like they have actually properly managed it based off of what 75, 80 years ago. I mean, you're talking about when you're talking about a tree 80 years ago, I mean, we're talking about 1940 something, right? So 1940, when you think about that, I don't think they were thinking about 2026 management of whiskey barrels. I think actually in the 40s that's when they were still barreling gasoline in those oak barrels at that point. I mean, when you think about that, that's it's kind of amazing. So, but the management of the oak forests makes sense because we make furniture. We make so much. It's used for so much thing in construction, into home building and furniture, and then the barrels. I mean, it's a booming industry, right? And so it must have been really booming. But once again, nobody counted on, and nobody's forecast counted on COVID, right? The pandemic is kind of what made this boom lose it lost control. All of a sudden everybody had to stay at home, and now we're coming out of it, and they're starting to promote that drinking isn't we should cut down. Or you see it all of a sudden they actually have a campaign to slow people from drinking. It's not healthy. It's got all this, and then you throw in the cannabis industry, and that kind of explains a little bit of what's happening right now, right? It's leveling off. It's just not growing at the amount that it was growing at.
That's right. It's leveled off, and that's the key thing. It's not going away anytime soon. Every year, I remember back in the '70s, I would say, younger generations drinking less. In 1980s, younger generations drinking less. In 1990s, younger generations drinking less. In 2020s, younger generations drinking less. And just you hear the same rhetoric, but yet sales, as I said, bourbon sales have gone from what did I say? 13 million to or 17 million to 30 million cases a year. So somebody's drinking.
Well, yeah. Well, obviously, I mean, you can even have that thing in the '80s. It used to be that you would go down and you would plop your cash down at the bar and buy a beer or buy a shot of whatever. And in the '80s, you took your credit card and you swiped it. And everybody was swiping their credit cards. They were all of a sudden, you weren't just buying a beer or some whiskey. You were buying these exotic drinks. I mean, Alabama Slammers or whatever, and that was you could do that, and you could access your bank account, and that changed how people partied. There was the young people partied, and then once we grew up, then we were like, like anybody else, when you grow up, you kind of like, you've had your fun of hangovers, and you all know what vodka, rum, and tequila will do to you. You look for something that you can kind of enjoy but not have to die. So, all right. So I mean, so what you're looking at all these numbers. What's the outlook? I mean, at this point, so last time the industry there weren't this allocated stuff. It was just bourbon, right? I mean, your choice of what was, I mean, it's so funny because Jack Daniels was top shelf. It was 1999 in 1980, and when you bought Jack Daniels or you bought Jim Beam, you were buying a top shelf bourbon. It was, and now Jack Daniels and Jim Beam are still 1999, and they are not considered top shelf. The top shelf has been taken over by allocated, right? But they still are what everybody drinks at the bars. I mean, the bars, people don't, I always try and tell everybody what happens at the bars transfers to the shelves also. And it just outsells the allocated by so much. And you can't blame the distilleries for still wanting to sell the stuff that they sell 20, 30 times more than the allocated stuff. But the allocated stuff kind of saved the bourbon industry, right?
What I mean, it had its place. I don't know that I would consider Jack Daniel's Jim Beam top shelf back in the '80s, but it was good whiskey.
Well,
and
what top
it
shelf
was reasonably priced.
Top shelf was in the '80s was Scotch. I'm just saying from a standpoint of bourbon, what was higher than Jack Daniel's or Jim Beam for bourbon in the '80s?
Turkey.
Wild, okay,
Yeah.
Wild Turkey's right.
Really,
That's right there with
Wild
it.
Turkey was, yeah, it was actually if you look at the higher shelf stuff, Maker's Mark, Wild Turkey, those were some more the top shelf stuff. But then, like you said, within this boom, there was a lot of allocated stuff, a lot of very special limited edition type stuff that came out. So I think in today's society, if you look at the industry as a whole, the growth is low. There's an abundance, a surplus of aged whiskey. But I think the demand for premium bourbon is still very strong. Still very strong.
Uh-huh.
And as you said earlier, with the amount of surplus we have right now, that's going to drive these prices down. The industry got saturated with so many different brands. I mean, you could go into a liquor store back, 25, 30 years ago, and yeah, you may see, a section, bourbon section. Well, today, that same bourbon section is probably 5-10 times as big because there's so many different now, different offerings on the shelf. So I think the demand for premium bourbon is still strong and will be strong for a long time.
So my Giant Eagle, which where I go for everything, they just recently, within the last 2-3 months, took the wall. So you'd walk in and you would turn left and you'd walk by all the tequilas and the vodkas and then the rums. And then there was more other stuff on the back. And then when you came around to the back, 3/4 of the wall, that other wall was bourbon. But what started happening is behind the counter and in the bottom shelf, all the bourbon started to fill out that. Behind. So they were putting the little higher expensive stuff behind the cash register. Well, one day I walked in and they had the whole wall filled with bourbon, the main wall. So now when you go left, that's your bourbon, so they took everything from behind the counter and put it there. And then they just had a select few. And now 2-3 months later, they're still starting to fill up behind the shelf. But they, it definitely, I'm like going, well, that doesn't seem to be a bourbon problem, that you just took the store and added another quarter part of it for, obviously if that was the case, they would be not doing that. They would be downsizing what they purchase, right?
Right.
So, anyways, all right. So let's talk about the 4 branches. You're at, okay. How about this? Summarize it up. summarize what we just talked about for everybody. Just summarize where you think it's going, and then we'll get into the four branches.
So again, you look back at history and you'll see the industry sink. And this last cycle, I mean, the uprise was quick and it was steep and it was fast. Well, it leveled off. And so once again, deja vu all over again. We have an abundance of aged whiskey sitting in warehouses. So companies are adjusting. You know, they're correcting, just like the stock market. You know, you'll see it skyrocket one day, and the next couple of days it'll correct itself a little bit. Overall, I think the demand is still strong. It's leveled off. It's not like the growth factor is not like it has been over the last 10, 15 years. It's just leveled off. The demand for good premium bourbon is still very strong. And I think there's opportunities. We see a number of companies that have gone bankrupt or in receivership. And I don't think it's a reflection on what's happened in the market. I think that's more a reflection of less than adequate financial management. People thought, you should have seen right here when Beam announced that they were shutting down the Boston, or excuse me, the Claremont distillery for a year. All the media around here said, "Oh, the bourbon industry's going to hell in a handbasket, and it's dying. Beam's shutting things down." Well, no. Beam had planned on doing, and I think this plan's been in the works for some time. They planned to remodel and upgrade that old distillery there in Claremont, and so they need to shut it down. As I recall, if I heard correctly, nobody's getting laid off. Okay?
Not one employee.
Anybody off, but they're going to upgrade that facility. They can handle the current demand with the surplus of inventory they have, plus the Boston facility, and of course the Makers Distillery. They've got the facilities to produce to meet the demand going forward.
So also, if you look at Heaven Hill, I remember at the time they just built a brand new distillery, and they're distilling now in Bardstown for the first time in forever. They opened that up last year. But one of the things is that they weren't going to hire any more employees to run that distillery. And then at first everybody was like, "How can you do that? How can you do that?" Well, that's an intelligent thing. Nobody lost their jobs. They all basically, they can slow down a little bit and then start running that facility with the people that they have. Now I don't know how much they hired or whatever, but they weren't laying off people. Same thing when Jim Beam made that announcement. And it had to be done, because if you try and search the internet when the last time Beam upgraded that facility where it had with a major overhaul, you can't find it. They did a lot of computer additions and that type of thing, but they never shut down production. They would always just add in and keep going. And you have to be able to revamp. I mean, they just finished upgrading the Boston plant. I mean, they got the old Granddad plant running. I mean, they have so much ability to keep producing what they need to produce, but this is the time to do it. Plus, they're going to concentrate on the craft distillery, the smaller still that Freddie's running. So, I mean, it's almost like a perfect. It's not a recession. We're not having a bourbon recession. It's just a leveling off, and they still have to be producing. They just don't have to keep building and producing more, right? But there's, like I said, there's so many distilleries that came online, and then I was just thinking about, holy crap, America drinks an awful lot of whiskey when you see how much stuff has come online, right?
I think the sales are strong. So like I said, in a nutshell, it's leveled off, but it's still strong and doing well. And I hope I can stick around to be a part of it for the rest of my life.
Well, you've been a great part of it, a great part. Cheers to what you've done with us. I mean, I remember talking to you, and I think we talked online, and then giving you giving you a phone call. I've always, everybody who's watched, they know, but I mean, then all I feel like is that I was like a little baby bird, and you took me under your wing, and I appreciate it so much because when we first started podcasting, honestly, from a standpoint of the information that we had, it was almost criminal. If you're gonna watch the first podcast, it's just like we didn't know anything. We just knew that we liked whiskey and we were gonna drink it and talk about it. And so that
I remember Tiny and Young Nose.
Yep. Yep, for sure. And we would ask you questions, and you probably were like sitting there like they really don't know anything. I the one time we did the live and we picked Russell's Reserve and had no idea, and you were just like, I was directly related to that, and this is how it went, and it just blew my mind. But I will say that industry has positioned itself for the aged whiskey that's about to happen, because let's just say Russell's 13, Russell's 15, Knob Creek 21, 18, Knob Creek 18, Knob Creek 12. They have them all. Weller 12, Pappy Van Winkle, everything they really have gotten themselves where there might be enough freaking Weller and Buffalo Trace that people will actually be able to drink Pappy and buy it off the shelf instead of have to be in a lottery and never see a bottle. They might have made enough where we might be able to get these products which we never were able to get before, that you might, and that's what I'm hoping for, and that would be amazing, right?
I think that's true. I think there's a lot of products that have been allocated over the years, and not saying that there's some may still be allocated, but it may not be related to inventory levels. It may be related to a distributor deciding, they want to create a demand in a certain market, or a retailer, whatever. I mean, there's different ways, different reasons for allocating. Okay, it doesn't always come down to, well, they don't have the whiskey, or they have a limited amount. So, but you're right. I think it should provide the slowdown and the abundance of inventory should provide a sustainable inventory for some of these older products out there, older offerings.
And you didn't,
and at a better, reasonable price too, I believe.
And at the time when the last time the adjustment happened, nobody was drinking that kind of bourbon. That was not there for anybody. Like when that's, like you said, when you got Russell's Reserve to come out, their stuff was aging, and it was getting to the point where you're getting dangerously close to having to dump it out. And that's kind of like not a problem now, because we've got a lot of people that are on board for drinking Knob Creek 21. You know what I mean? And if they get it, and I'm sure they've got 25 planned, and they got it all planned to keep going. But I think the bourbon market and the people, that this should, no matter what happens, I think that they're set up to just keep going forward. I'm just excited about what they're going to do. I don't know how many different ways you can put bourbon in a different barrel, but I'm sure they're going to figure out more ways, right?
Let's hope so.
Okay, so let's go real quick. 4 Branches, not quick, but let's switch real quick to 4 Branches. I don't want.
So let me tell you, what we got coming up down the pike here real soon, actually, probably within the next couple months. We're going to be coming up with our latest edition. It's going to be called 4 Branches Founders Reserve Bourbon. Again, it's just like the Founders Blend. It's a 4-grain bourbon, 60% corn, 26% rye, 10% wheat, and 4% malted barley. And again, that's going to be called 4 Branches Founders Reserve. A month or two, I'd say probably in May, or I'd say probably June, which it's looking right now, because I've been tasting it every month. But in June, we're probably going to bottle it. We'll be ready for the 4th of July, but we're coming out with a tribute to America's 250th birthday. This year, in July 4th of 1776, United States of America turns 250 years old. And so we're going to have a product come out in honor of the birthday. It's going to be called Four Branches Liberty Reserve. And it is something special I've been working on for a little while now. It's actually got 10-year-old Kentucky straight bourbon. About 70% of it will be 10-year-old Kentucky straight bourbon. And about 30% of it will be our 6.5-year-old 4-grain bourbon. So it'll actually be a double oak 4-grain bourbon. It's again, I taste it every month and it's fabulous. I bought 8 brand new barrels. I took the bourbon, blended together, and then put it in these new barrels. Now these new barrels are charred. They're white oak barrels, 53 gallon. But I took 8 barrels and I filled them up with this bourbon. Like I said, the 10-year-old Kentucky straight bourbon and the 4-grain bourbon. And I've been tasting, but the barrels aren't charred. I gave them a deep penetrating medium plus toast. So they're heavily toasted because, the charring already did its job on the 10-year-old bourbon and the 6.5-year-old 4-grain bourbon. All I'm trying to do is create flavor and extract that flavor out of the wood. And it's coming along nicely. If it gets to the point where I think it's got, the right amount of flavor without too, and the wood side starts increasing too much, we'll go ahead and dump it, put it in a tank and hold it till we bottle it in June. But right now, I think with the colder temperatures we've had, it's progressing nicely. It's not overpowering. Oak's not overpowering the whiskey, in other words.
So in other words, God is on your side lately. I mean,
you adjust. It can be hot or it can be cold outside, and you just have to adjust accordingly. That's why I taste it each month. You don't want to overdo it.
But it's good. I mean, I this is the first winter, honestly, while I've been in Ohio 21 years, and this is by far the closest it's ever come to Wisconsin. I mean, we might get 1 day or 2 days in the below zero, and then it's like 40 degrees or whatever. And this stretch has been intense. And same thing with you guys. I honestly, when I was a kid and the weather went across Wisconsin, all the thunderstorms, that's where where the hot air met the cold air, and there was tornadoes and whatever. And now that has dropped further southern. I mean, that cold air drops down further, and it went this year, I swear to God, it went right through Louisville and right where you are in Indiana. You guys just got the punches. I mean, we're up here, up north of you, and we're getting 10 inches and you're getting 2 feet.
Yeah, this has been an unusual winter for sure.
And today we had like they were said 50, but it was like 44, and everything was melting finally. And I was walking. I got called for jury duty, but I'm going to be on vacation, so I had to turn it in at the courthouse. And I was walking, and I'm like, it might be 44 air degree temperature, but it's probably about 30 with all the snow, and I'm in a refrigerator or a freezer. I mean, it was just like, you know what I mean? That snow will keep that temperature from going up, whether or not.
Yeah.
So, but it's been honestly, I think the industry, as far as they needed a year like this. It's good to keep it there, and then all of a sudden what happens in the summer, there's got to be that's all part of nature, right? Of getting those. I mean, you don't want it all evaporating too quick by having 10 summers that everything just evaporates out. You want to have a little slowdown period. And I just was, but I've just found that the whiskey itself and the way the temperature, especially in Kentucky, has been going, it's just like everything to me seems to be a little like it's been perfect aging whiskey temperatures for the last 10 12 years, and you can't ask for anything better, right?
The same with this year. This past summer we had so many days where the temperatures exceeded 90 degrees Fahrenheit, and then as you said here recently with this cold snap, it's we've had the extreme the other way. It got below zero. So
I've been, the Buffalo Trace that's been on the shelf the last 2 years, as I've taste tested the difference between 4 years ago, and it's so much more caramely and rich. And then even the lower level, let's say the 2-year-old bourbons that get sold on the bottom shelf, right? They're still Kentucky straight. They're 2 years, but they are improved. They're better because of that. That heat will keep them better. That top, what is it? The benchmark from Buffalo Trace. You taste those brands, and that's still good whiskey, and it's only 2 years old.
Yeah, it's amazing. It makes a big difference.
Yeah. So, anyways, all right. So you've got this coming out. So, what's the party on the 4th of July? I'm booking it. Am I at your house swimming in your pool? Or are we going to do a big, huge Four Branches 4th of July party down in Kentucky?
Try to see if we can't make that happen. That'd be fun.
I mean, I'll be there. I'll come down because you're talking 250 years. I mean, you and me both remember the 200th year, right? 1976. I mean, that was for whatever the country was doing at the time, and now I look back and whatever it as a kid, that year was a special year. I mean, they changed the money. There was things that they did that you didn't know they would do as a kid, and it was just like
Yeah.
that they did. And I think 250. I mean, we gotta definitely, if you guys got that and you do something, I'm there.
One other thing I didn't tell you on that, Jeff, is I said we're only doing 8 barrels. Okay, there's 8 barrels. It's a limited amount, and the first 1,700 is going to be like 1,776 bottles. We may have a few cases over that for samples and so forth, but every bottle will be sequentially numbered. 1 of 1,776, 2 of 1,776, 3, so on and so forth. So they'll be sequentially numbered as well.
So there's going to be 1,776 bottles.
Yes.
And then everything over that will be samples.
Yeah, we'll be doing tastings and so forth with the little bit of addition. Won't be a lot.
Well,
maybe 20 cases.
Honestly, they should do something special for somebody to be able to get that 17. They should run some sort of promotion that you could be the one to get the 7, something. They should do that.
Really got something planned out, Jeff. I just said I focus on making the whiskey and making it as best as I can, and then preparing it. So we got something special to offer consumers, and what they do with the marketing, we'll see. I think a lot of it, as you will know, I mean, a lot of their proceeds go back to veterans organizations and first responder organizations. I think the company will be 3 years old this coming spring, and they've already given back over $600,000.
Well, that's spectacular, and just as far as a brand goes, that is great. But what's going to go in the bottle, and what you're doing to put in the bottle, I will challenge anybody. I mean, now that you are in the consulting part where you are looking for what you're looking for, and then I mean, it's funny because as we go forward in what we just talked about, it might become a playground for you. Right? I mean, when you have these barrels, I mean, before, finding the barrels it was really expensive to get good barrels, and there was a point where we were like, how is this going to keep going? It's amazing. We started podcasting in 2019. I started really being a part of the bourbon industry where I was looking at it seriously in 2018. It's 2026. We're not even 10 years into this. And where it was when I started to where it went and to where it is now, the speed it's just like, I don't care what you say, the way social media works, the way computers works, the way that the whole distilling industry can work, the speed is just crazy. You got to, I mean, to produce the amount of whiskey that you produced for Chicken Cock at a distillery at Bardstown Bourbon Company, and then think about what they do for everybody as far as their contract distilling and whatnot. That was something. There's no way in 1970. At that time in the 70s, we were still looking for how to get consistent. Like that was a proud moment to be able to make the same whiskey every year for everybody at the level they were producing the whiskey, right? That was, as a master distiller, that was a skill. Not everybody could keep the whiskey. The big guys did because of what they came up with, but it wasn't the whole rip on the craft distillery is that they couldn't keep it consistent. But as we've gone through, I mean, it's just crazy. Like the craft distillers are getting to get into their 10-year stuff, and you're starting to see what the whiskey barrel does to somebody who was a craft distiller, that their stuff was fruity. It's now turning caramely. Everything kind of changes, and you're getting some more mature. The people who made it, their stuff is becoming more and more into that sweet spot, that 7 to 10 years where it's mature. I mean, it's so exciting. I mean, I really think we as consumers are going to experience some damn good whiskey coming up.
I think we have, and I think that's to be seen in the future as well.
I mean, what you're tasting when you're looking at Earl Craig, are you noticing this? I mean,
the hard part, with the business philosophy of acquiring whiskey and is trying to have that consistency, but a sustainability of consistency. And so that's what we're doing with the Four Branches Founders Reserve. We've locked in on that mash bill I told you, the 60, 26, 10, 4 grain mash bill.
Which makes
and
sense.
We've been able to acquire a large enough inventory to sustain the brand going out into the future for who knows how long.
I mean, it's
Quite a while.
4 branches, 4 grain. I mean, I don't know the 4 on there. Somehow you got to get Brett Favre to promote it. There you go.
Well, there's more meaning that 4 on there. It was actually designed to represent the 4 branches of the guys that all started the brand and that. But and I'd have to let them tell you that. I think they may have at one time. But
real quick. All right, I did that. Hold on a sec. I gotta just out of nowhere, the computer was unplugged, but I'll get it back up and run it to finish up because we're close. No, we're not. The whole thing fell off. All right. You know that I'm really good at technical stuff, right?
right.
That was not what I wanted to happen. All right. We'll finish up as soon as that comes back online. All right. Like this, right? Yep. It did it. All right. Sorry about that. I mean, it just turned off. So the only people that got to experience that are the people on Facebook and YouTube. All right.
Okay.
I got that plugged in, right? All right. I'm just going to get the computer to come back on. There we go. And when that comes on, we'll finish up.
Okay.
Got it. All right. Oh, that all. Let's just do this. All right, we'll just I'll finish that up on I can just once it comes. It's not, but we'll just finish up right here. So we've got the 4th of July. You got the 4th of July release coming, which sounds exciting. And then now it's going to come up. All right. Let's see. I'm just looking for what happened to there it is. Do you want to? All right. It's just, I don't even know how that all happened. It's just like, oh yeah, now I do, because it died, right? All right, that's plugged in. Let me plug in the microphone and then we'll go. Sometimes. And the funny thing is it happened. So, and I've been fooling around ever since it happened, right? All right, let's see what happens. Because when I bring it back up, it's actually, all right. Is it back up? It started recording. So nobody on the audio just got that. So that's really good. Right? All right. So we'll just we can finish up now. Do you want to stay on for a couple minutes while people take questions from Facebook, or do you got to go?
Yeah, I can take just a few minutes if you don't mind. Yeah, it'd be fine.
All right. So here we go.
I was showing it was recording the whole time, Jeff. So I don't know if it.
No,
it
you
just
were
quit recording.
You were recording. Yeah. What happened was the audio was recording. This is just the audio that did it, and so I just wanted. So they don't know anything that just happened. Put it that way. So I got it all set up. It's running. So let's just finish up. Thank you for joining us. We'll finish up on audio, and then everybody else, Susan just said, this is what Susan just said. Why watch the Olympics when we have 2 champions of bourbon? I think Gregg deserves a gold medal. All right. I think so too. Gregg definitely deserves it. And Matt says, yes, he does. So, all right. So, thanks everybody for joining us tonight. Facebook, YouTube, and everybody. Super appreciate it. And Gregg, I think this was I think we got into a subject that a lot of people are thinking about, right? And right afterwards, we'll take questions. But remember, www.scotchybourbonboys.com for all things Scotchy Bourbon Boys, Glencairn's t-shirts. I'm going to also, are you going to New Orleans this year?
No plans at this point, no.
I'm going to be in New Orleans. Me and Matt Leisen are going to fly out there and have a good time in New Orleans. Roxy's busy, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens in New Orleans this year. Anyways, but remember, we're on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and X, along with TikTok and Patreon. Make sure that you become members, subscribe, join us on Patreon. There's a lot of good perks. I mean, you can end up with Glencairn's and other stuff. Then we're also on Apple, iHeart, and Spotify, and anywhere else you can, where the audio, where anywhere else you can listen to us. But whether you listen to us or like us, just make sure that listen to us or watch us. Listen to us or like us. You always like us, right? Or watch us. Just make sure that you leave us good feedback, give us 5-star reviews on Apple and all the good stuff. Anything, but anything that you donate to the, through memberships and everything that goes to a good cause, because we use it for where we stay when we bring you good, uh, uh, information. So, anyways, all right. So remember, good bourbon equals good times with good friends. And Greg, you are a really good friend. And remember,
Likewise, buddy. Likewise.
drink responsibly. Don't drink and drive. And make sure you live your life uncut and unfiltered. And our theme song is going to take us out.
Wake up, sunrise and boots on the floor, working hard all day till you can't no more. Life rolls on, but the choice is yours, how you play it out when you walk through that door. One bottle, one drink, one pour. That's what the Scotchy Bourbon Boys got in store. Tuesdays, Thursdays, come pouring up a seat. We'll taste through the whiskey on the rocks and the bourbon Scotch or a good old ride. Japanese, Irish, yeah, we'll tell you why. So wherever you're sipping, near or far, tune in with us from your home or your car. One bottle, one drink, one pour. That's the podcast you've been looking for.
All right. So I hit pause. All right. So hopefully, there we go. I actually got people in. There you go. Matt
So,
Lyons.
Hey, Matt.
How are you, bro? Nice to
Good,
see you, man.
How you doing, pal?
So
Good.
So Matt, ask him the question you were asking on Facebook.
Oh, good deal. Greg, I need you to come down to Cleveland, and I would like to host you on a tasting night that we do a fun share at the house here.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch all that. Matt. Do what?
I'd like to host a tasting when you come down, and then have you just join me and a bunch of my buddies, and we'll all have have a good old time.
Well, I'd love to if I could get up that way. No, Matt, but
We got to get this. We got to get Ohio. I mean, we have.
Because we don't even have that here.
I know we're working. It's tough. They're in 7 markets right now, and it takes money, and they've been working on a couple of investment potential opportunities to pick up some investors, and hopefully, if they can get the right money, we start expanding. But Ohio's definitely on the target list. Wisconsin's on the target list. I mean, there's some great markets out there that we're not in yet, and most of their sales is online sales right
Chicago's
now.
already been on the target list because look at what John's got right there. Look at right there.
See that?
Yeah, I got
Awesome. John, thanks. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
good stuff, Maynard.
So you should come down to New Orleans too, and come down to the festival with us, because me and Jeff will be there. Someone has to keep him in line, so I feel like you might be able to do that.
Hey, no, that ain't my job, man. Ain't my job. What's the dates on that this year?
March
19
19th through the 22nd.
Yep.
Okay, yeah.
of March.
I doubt it. My girlfriend and I, we're going to be down in the British Virgin Islands for gosh, from the 6th to the 17th.
That sounds.
And getting back, I don't know if I'll get down to New Orleans.
Why can't you figure just fly? If you're on from the 6th to the 17th, just fly into New Orleans with Susan, and then she can keep me in check.
See how he is? Listen to this guy.
I mean, I'll tell her if she comes to New Orleans with you, I'll give you the gold medal right there in front of her.
You might have the key to the city at that point. Like we might be able to work
we'll
stuff.
see.
I'll be there.
I've been New Orleans is a great time. It's a great time, and that's a fun festival. But
that was
yeah, you got to be careful.
Me and you were there the last time me and you were that I was there. You were there. I mean, we had a good time.
Yeah, for sure. Great time, and that's a fun festival. But yeah,
that was me and
Randy.
Somebody's got their value.
It was Randy. We all know Randy was coming in because he always comes in. But Randy, you are much better of turning it off quickly. He's got it down.
Good.
Walker
Hey,
is
Walker.
Walker's
Walker.
coming in
Hey,
too.
Walker.
Yeah, I was just trying to get set in my other room. Took me a second.
There he is.
I'm getting ready
I
to
see
buy
you,
a
Walker.
barrel. I'm getting ready to buy a barrel of this. It is really good.
It's
4 grain. Something
RM
Rose.
Rose 4 grain out of Georgia.
so Greg,
Okay.
have you figured out how
I don't know
to
which one that is.
do 4 branches barrel picks?
That's been talked about, but we'll have to see. I think they might be able to now that we've got a consistent inventory of the 4 grain available. We may be able to do some barrel picks now.
So
Back.
talk about so basically you've been so how do you go about on the market? I mean, this is an honest question. How do you go out on the market to buy available barrels? I mean, is there a market for people,
Is there a market for people?
you know, to be able
Typically,
to
you got to
go-
work. You got to work through a distributor. Now, Ohio being a control state, you got to go, work through the liquor commission.
Okay, but what? So you live in Indiana, but going through Kentucky, that's not a hard thing to do. But where do you find out what barrels through the commission are available? I mean, the distributor. I mean, if you pick one distributor, then you're like cut off from other people who are through other distributors, or do you go through different distributors?
Well, whoever we're using in that market is a distributor, like in Kentucky, for example, we're using R&DC. And so if you bought it through a store or through a distributor in Kentucky, you'd have to work through R&DC.
No.
Now in Ohio, I don't know. Haven't you done some barrel picks in Ohio?
No. I'm not talking about barrel picks for how do you buy barrels for
How do I
As
pick?
a
your
wholesaler.
branches? Where do you? Is there like a website
awesome.
where all the barrels are just there?
Actually, I've been working. Well, they had an inventory when I first connected with them. Okay, it's a small inventory that they had acquired, and they were putting together different things. They were working with Steve Nally initially, and they had some bourbon from a couple different distilleries. But what we've locked in on is 4 grain. It's made at Bardstown Bourbon Company.
Excellent.
And so, I mean, I sampled stuff that BBC made, that Green River made. They had some. Again, to have a sustainable inventory of a good quality, high quality bourbon, that's what we locked in with the Bardstown Bourbon Company. We're able to acquire years going forward.
So okay, so in other words, like Green River, if they made it, it's in barrels, but it's like still not ready, correct?
Something like Bardstown Bourbon Cup. We're coming out this bourbon. It's over 6 years old. It's
No,
almost
no,
6.5
but
years
yeah,
old.
Bardstown Bourbon Company's been making bourbon since 2015, but even they started building in 2012, right? They've started distilling
We
in
started making in 2016. Green River, actually, OZ Tyler, they started making bourbon in 2017, I believe.
Okay, so the Green River stuff is the stuff that Ozzy Tyler was making, what they were laying down.
Yes.
And they did a good. I was there with Aaron Harris, and my God, the whiskey they laid down without their, rapid aging is fantastic. I mean, I think that was a treasure. I mean, that was like buried treasure. People, the fact that Green River is what it is today. I mean, some of the stuff they're producing is phenomenal. And then now they're distilling, and Aaron's doing a fantastic job there. And yeah, okay. And so your connections through Bardstown Bourbon Company, which is Nick and Steve,
Justin,
it's just
Yeah.
they're
Steve,
producing good
Mother
shit.
Kerwin,
Right?
yeah.
I mean, it's not like
Absolutely. No, I remember when they were building or refurbishing the old Method Distillery, which was OZ Tyler. And the first bourbon, that distillate coming off there, I tasted some of the very first distillate because it's chicken cock. The first 100 barrels I laid down, Bardstown Bourbon Company, they were already booked about a year out in advance. And so the first 100 barrels I laid down was at OZ Tyler. We just didn't run it through that accelerated maturation crap.
through what was it? What's the Rosie? They called it Rosie from the Jetsons. Well, yes, and they should have just shut their mouths. If they wanted to do it, they should have just shut up and just kept aging it, and they would have been fine. That was a marketing.
They really
marketing mistake.
damaged that brand.
Yeah, because
No, it was the ownership. It's a classic example of the people who own the company didn't know what the hell they were doing, and they listened to this scientist who come up with this process, and yeah, it added a little color and it gave it a little flavor, but it's
just
there's no
imagine.
substitute.
But just imagine if you took that after it added color and flavor, and you basically aged it the right amount of time, it probably would have been decent. It's just like they just said, they're like, this is rapid aging and we're going to get this out. The marketing is what killed it, and it still didn't taste good.
I just say it tasted like shit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but it needed to. And everybody who ever told me, what's the biggest, I will contend, who does rapid aging? Oh, wait, Buffalo Trace. But will they ever say they're rapid aging? No, because a year is a year to them. They heat and let their warehouses cool down. Steam heat. Taylor's been doing it. He basically did it at what's the other oh my God, why am I, Matt, help me up. Castle and Key. Yeah, they have those heating systems. He did it there, and he did it it's there at Buffalo Trace, and they do it, but it's like they're like, it doesn't matter what we do to it in between. A year is a year. It's just like that simple.
Well, see, there's other brands that don't even take it to those years and do all that stuff. Like if you go to Cleveland Whiskey, they don't even do it the way that you're talking about it this way. There's whole different ways of doing that. Or I don't know. I guess people buy it because they're out there and doing stuff. And let me just, Jeff, you had all the new Cleveland Whiskey stuff that just came out. What did you think of each one?
Yeah, it was better than I remember.
It was way better than it was.
Well, yeah, because they're getting into their 4-year stuff. It's just simple. It's just like they're around. It takes a while to get to where you are, but Ozzy Tyler just basically slit their, I mean, I'm not trying to be graphic, but they slit their throats and how they marketed it. It wasn't that they weren't freaking making. Yeah, well, the Christmas
one at
At a mayor's
Yeah,
Day.
yeah.
River Roots.
The Christmas,
River Roots.
the
That Christmas
flavored
one, River
Christmas, they do so this place that they're talking about, Greg, is in Cleveland, okay? And they did this thing where they rapid aged and their stuff isn't good, but then they did this weeded
that's
bourbon
the
that they
whiskey.
did normally.
I was
They
talking about
call it
River Roots.
wheat pet, but then they did the Christmas whiskey, which every year they release, and it's a flavored whiskey. And by far the best flavored whiskey you can drink. It tastes like Christmas. You know what I'm saying? They did a really good job of flavoring it. So they're hanging in based off their Christmas whiskey, and then their stuff's starting to come to age, so it's getting better. But you got it. So everybody's got to figure out how to get to age, right?
That actually wasn't the one I was talking about. I was talking about River Roots. The Christmas one was Green River.
Yeah,
Tyler.
Oh my God!
Christmas release.
That's a good one, Jimmy. Holy crap, that's good.
Yeah, yeah, I have it too. I bought it too. That was one that because I remember it was only 7 years or maybe 9 years, but it was so dark. Yeah, 9 year. Okay, thank you. And it had a good flavor. I don't know what they did, but it was it was a good one. And like I said, it was the OC Tyler, but that's the only one I've ever had that was that old of Green River.
Well,
you know what I mean?
So, Greg, whenever you can make it down to Cleveland, I will take you down to River Roots. We'll walk through their barrel room. We will have a blast. I'll shoot some reels at them. We'll talk. They would love to meet you, so that would be fantastic.
Hey, Greg.
Jimmy, that's it right there.
Greg,
Jimmy, that's the one, right?
Yep, that's it.
That's the one.
Yeah. So River Root basically.
I just need to know a week ahead, and I will put us up on some cool ass shit. They've all been down with me to all the places. It's fun. We have a blast down here.
I'd love to.
If you got my number, you can just hit me up, and I'll set us up whenever you're this way.
But yeah, that bottle that John showed was sourced from Green River, but it was 9 years, so it would be Tyler. Yeah.
I mean, look how dark that is. I don't know if that does you any justice on the Zoom, but that's a really dark.
It was a delicious bottle.
Juice.
So, Greg,
very good.
What you have to do probably in the next year or two, convince Susan that the summers in Ohio are beautiful, and it's worth coming up here to see what's up here, and then come up here and we'll all have a a good time. I'll get Roxy.
She'd love to. She's always up for road trips.
Because I don't think Four Branches, it'll take too long, but it'll be worth it. And what the River Root basically purchases barrels from everyone, and then they have their own brand. They release single barrels. They do a little blend here or there. But the guy's doing it's called it's River Root Barrel Company, right? That's what they call it. And he's at first he was a little bit what would you say? He was a little bit off the mark, but he's been on the mark for the last couple of years. So the stuff is really good. So and he just basically buys barrels, releases them. He got a bunch of buff turkey. I mean, and it's just good. The barrels are just delicious. So does a decent job.
It's basically three guys. One of them was an old brewer, and he's been brewing beer for 30 years.
Yeah.
One of them is Michael Simon, like the Iron Chef, and then the other one is Michael Boland, who is also a chef on TV. They got together and they started buying their own barrels, and they were trying to do a little company to do it, and now they've blown up so big that their building that's right down the street from my house, which is like 10 minutes that way, is now going to have to get moved downtown, and now they're making their own brewery and this, and it's blowing up a restaurant and this, and it's going to be like a giant attraction to go to. But the thing is, I was there when they opened, and it's so awesome. Like, I got some of their first sample bottles they ever sent to anyone that did anything. I'm like, they're just the nicest people you'll ever meet. I'll go in there with all my stuff when I'm working, and I'll take my tasting bag in there. I'll set it right on the table. I'm like, what do you guys got? Mm-hmm. And I'll try stuff. I'm like, here's what I've had. You guys want to try this? And here, we just sit there, try stuff and this, and just talk whiskey and go. The nicest people you'll ever meet. Like, they're so cool. But when you come down, I will make us a plan. I just need a week ahead, and I'll call them, and I'll get a date, and
we need to do like a summer party. Scotchy Bourbon Boys summer party, like we have the Christmas party. You know what I mean?
And I'll put us a time. We'll have the whole thing. We'll take over the whole River Roots and have a big old tasting in there. We do it every time we go. It's fun.
I don't know,
But no,
maybe
they
we
would
can
love-
get Greg and Susan to come to Chicago and go to a Cubs game with us too.
Did you invite them on the trip this year? That'd be killer.
He's making a whole thing.
Poor Greg.
I'm actually going this year, Greg.
Everybody's
We'll have
making plans for you in your semi-retirement. Greg.
Yeah,
That's
and
the
Greg's
shit, man.
Greg's like, Greg talks to like how
Greg's
many
like,
how
oh, yeah, let
many
me just book
podcast
this.
groups, you know, Greg's he's just smiling.
Well, let me just tell you though,
It sounds
Greg is the
fun. It
nicest
really does.
person in the
I'd love
world.
to. Yeah,
He
I'm not
picks
coming
up
up in the
phone
winter though,
anytime
Matt.
you
Now.
call.
No,
He's like
no,
the nicest
summertime.
person.
Greg, summertime. We're south. We're you're already south of us, so you already know. But summertime in that area, up in the Cleveland, up in the, you know, there's a
Yeah.
couple places. There's like one, there is a small section, right, a little bit west of Cleveland that is like a wine country for Ohio. And there's some really nice places to stay, and I guarantee you could get. Susan just already said, "Let's go." She says,
She's still on.
"Yes," and she wants me to dance. That's not happened. Matt, can you dance?
I mean, I can. It just depends how much I drank that day. You know, it kind of works that way.
Anyways,
That's too funny.
yeah, definitely. There's and we got to get down to your part of Indiana. I mean, just that Matt, you gotta come into next year. We got to get to he lives right next to the greatest restaurant in the whole country, and we've been there many times breaking bread.
Sure. Yeah, for sure.
If I wasn't so late coming down for the bus tour, we could have made it down to Greg's. I didn't know. I was trying to get to your house by a certain point. If I would have known, we could have headed that way and made it to dinner with y'all. But we hit so many. We talked to
I
Brad
remember
Bonds
that,
for
yeah.
way too long, and it was a day of driving and doing crazy stuff. So it, you know,
So do you
old
think
fashioned.
you're going to be able to get him in Kentucky
Numerous
Bourbon
times.
Festival? Greg,
Oh,
Kentucky
What's
Bourbon
that?
Festival this year?
I don't know. I've got to wait and see. I've got an event this week in Louisville. It's actually it's called the Kentucky Bourbon Country auction and celebration. And Friday night, actually Susan's come to help me with that. But Friday night we're at the Ellerslie Fraser Museum in downtown doing a tasting, and then Saturday night it's at the Omni Hotel. It's we do a tasting, but they have a really nice dinner. You know, it's kind of semi-formal. And
This Saturday or
they
next
do
Saturday?
I'm not sure. This coming Saturday, the 14th. It's for the Bob Woodruff Foundation. So it's all military.
dinner.
Giving back to the military.
Oh my God.
awesome.
I'm a week off, so
Very cool.
Rachel wants to spend the Friday night and the Saturday night at the Omni. So of the next week, because we'll be coming down. So who knows? I mean, if we're in Louisville and we're running out of things to do, we're gonna next weekend. Are you still in town?
I don't know. I may be over at Susan's in Newburgh, but let me know. I'll ask Nick Nelson, who's our chief marketing officer for Four Branches. I'll find out hopefully this weekend what their plans are. They're working on getting a Kentucky DSP registration so they could sell bottles at the festival and
Yep.
things like that. So I don't know if they done that successfully yet or not. But
Are
when
they gonna set the
do, they're
Are they gonna set the still up in your house at your garage?
No. Don't need to have a still to have a DSP. So anyhow,
Something tells me 76 is probably taken by now, unfortunately.
I don't know where they stand on it. I think they're pulling maybe the first 10 bottles and they're going to do some type of special auctions with those, Walker, but I don't know.
No, he's
no,
talking
I
about
meant
DSP
DSP.
76.
Probably taken already, unfortunately.
The
That would be
what?
really cool if they got
DSP? Oh, the
Yeah.
DSP.
Yeah, but you might have a shot. Even 1976 might be taken.
Yeah. Anyway, that's okay because there's brands that are going belly up and they might be, getting rid of their DSP.
You might be able to buy it.
Might be
If I
able to,
could get DSP 1776, that would be cool.
that would be
cool.
yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know. I was hoping we get into Bourbon Festival last year, but it just didn't happen quick enough. So hopefully they'll have everything aligned. We can do it this year.
For sure.
That'll be cool.
Yeah, next year we can do a live with you then, Greg, when we come up there.
Yeah, I can't get you. I keep missing stuff you're saying, man.
Next year at the Kentucky Bourbon Festival, we'll be able to do a live with you if you're there. That'll be fun.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. That'd be awesome. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
It'll be cool. So maybe you'll be able to just come on the bus tour this year.
Oh, that's awesome.
We'll have to see what's going on in September. I mean,
if there's it might happen.
Jeff, I just had somebody call me to ask me if they can come on the bus tour this year as well. You know who it is?
Who?
One of my buddies that makes like really good food. Like he wants to come this year. Yeah.
What? He's gonna start drinking again?
He wants to start drinking again.
Well, so you should just refer to him as my son's boss.
That's the way you want to do it. I don't think you want to do that. Like,
Yeah,
we don't have to do all that.
because I will put it this way: if he comes on the bus tour, I'll pay his tour because he has been employing my son, and that is a feat in itself.
Wait, what the hell? How does he get on the bus free and then I still got to pay?
Because you don't know what kind of a-hole my son is. And
To be honest with you, I've never had your son. I feel like you overstretch things though. You say stuff and it's just a lot of
no.
My
My son has taken this giant man and made him cry. So and he has basically employed him for over 2 years, and I respect him in a way that nobody can understand. I do. I'm
hiring one of your sons. I don't know what job I'm going to have, but I'm going to hire one of your sons just to do this. So you can be like, you know what? That is the man. We're doing this. I feel like
Hey, Greg, anytime you need to go, you can go. I mean, honestly,
I'm gonna have to cut off here, guys. It's way past my bedtime. It's been a long day, and it's so tired. So,
Greg, I'm
again. Always a pleasure.
Right, I'm heading out too. I've been up at 4 a.m. 3 of the last 4 days.
That's not fun.
No, not at all.
Greg,
nice
talking to you.
I'll take care. Good
I
seeing
have
you.
to text you more often, man. Nice seeing you.
Bye,
Have a
guys.
great week.
Love you,
Hopefully I'll
brother.
see you soon.
Greg, right here.
Bye.
You know
Appreciate
that.
you guys. Take care, man.
Thank you.
Good to see
You too.
Good night.
Randy.
I thought I left.
Randy.
No,
Why,
what you did.
why did Randy
left.
leave? I wanted
Because he's tired.
Can
He's tired.
I ask you guys what you're drinking right now?
Andy tried to ask him.
Oh,
We were in
yes.
conversation with Greg.
Nice.
Lucky 7.
John,
And
this is fantastic. though.
That looks familiar.
the Frenchman.
This is so goddamn good.
So
Oh my god.
Which
This
one?
made
The
me-
Amanda
Amberana,
Barnes,
right?
she blended the Frenchman, and she did it the first time, and it was fantastic. But did you pick that up from the festival last year? Dude, where did you get that?
From John. You know what else I got that's really awesome? One of these. Like the best dark arts product that I think they've ever made. That's almost gone.
Oh, yeah.
And it's almost gone. And I haven't even shot a video on it. And this is all I have left. This is stupid good.
This is
My God.
even better. And you know what? Fuck you, Matt. You want to know what the best is? Matt, when we're in New Orleans, I'm counting on you to make the connection with Macaulay so we can go to the horse races on Saturday when we're just gonna skip out this year and we're just gonna go to the horse races with Macaulay. and it's just like, and then we're gonna go party with bands, and we're gonna decline the cocaine.
Decline the what?
The cocaine. We're gonna decline the cocaine. Yes, exactly. No,
What the hell?
are you saying you're gonna do the? Are you saying you're doing the cocaine?
I'm good on doing all that.
I know, but Macaulay
Don't lie.
last year
Don't
was
lie.
like, you need to come out to the races with me. I'm going to be. So he went out to the races, met the lead singer of some freaking band that I have no idea. And then they went to the concert, partied with the band. And then he was like, I saw, he partied all night, and we were leaving at like 11:30 the next day. And Macaulay was just gone. It was crazy. Hey, Jimmy, are you gonna like try and come with us to New Orleans so you can like drive us around? And...
Talking about it, but you could drive us around. Yeah, I'm down, but you know,
I love how he asks people to go, and it says so you can drive us around. What is that?
I love Jimmy. Jimmy,
I might drive.
Jimmy, dude, who won the barrel?
15 hours away.
Jim.
Jimmy, I drove before. I've got the bottle from Randy.
Who won the barrel? Who won the barrel at the Christmas party? Who won the barrel head?
Oh, at the Christmas party.
Yeah.
That was me.
And know why? Because they gave it back, and I put it back up because
I know.
I love you,
You
brother.
knew it was meant to be.
Yes.
He's the biggest Delmer Seal
Oh,
that I've met ever.
Yeah,
like,
before we got on here, we just shot Hancock's, and then we were talking about the Elmer T connection with the Match 2.
oh my God, the other bottle that says Echo on it. I sent that to Joe that owns Echo, and I'm like, yo, how come we don't have one of these Echo bottles at Echo? And he goes, Matt, that's Maker's Mark. I'm like, but it says Echo.
It's Maker's Mark.
Mhm.
So this is a veteran pick. They sell it kind of like what we saw at the
Is Joe
the
a
classic
vet?
store for the again.
I don't know him that well to know that. I don't know.
Hey, Matt, do you want the rest of this tenure from New Orleans?
He does.
Wait, what is that one? That's a darker purple. That's something different. What? Can you read the front one to me?
That was his submission in New Orleans Bourbon Festival
Hold on.
2 or 3 years.
Here it is.
2 years ago, I think.
2 years ago. 10-year straight bourbon whiskey. New Orleans Bourbon Festival 2024.
So what is it rested in? What is that on?
No, it's just a 10-year.
The 10-year bourbon? And is that done by Bardstown? Or is that a blend of Bardstown and Ralston Squibb? Or are we allowed to
I'm
discuss this, or
sure.
how does that
No,
work?
Macaulay was MGP, and it's a 10-year MGP that Macaulay. So the way MGP works it, what most people go in and they say, I want some barrels, and they ship them the barrels based off of whatever. They just get shipped. Macaulay goes in, tastes barrels, and picks them because he's Macaulay.
Macaulay's got some pull, man. He knows what he's doing. I like him. I feel like I just haven't talked to him long enough.
Well,
I'll get with him.
No. You're going with me to New Orleans, Matt. You will be getting. We are going full out. Look, your part. I got you a pass. I asked for 2 passes to the Scotchy Bourbon Boys. You're one of the passes because it's just me and you. You went with me. You're part of it. You get into everything. But me and you are gonna bail on shit and go do shit because you know why?
You do know you're still live on this.
Yeah, I don't care. I could care less. You know why that we're gonna go do shit? Because what? It's because Matt, you do stuff.
Matt always doing something.
Matt, I am bringing you. I'm bringing you. At what point? At what point are we just gonna merge this shit? Because if we merge this shit, we will own the world.
Yeah, I feel like you have a lot of connections that way, and I have every connection this way. It's like it works.
So,
Yeah,
so
Scotchy
your goal
Cleveland
this
Boys on the
year is to
rocks.
get to have a podcast. I mean, we're the number 2. I'm the number 2 whiskey podcast in the world. Number 2 whiskey. I do all whiskeys. You're Cleveland on the rocks. We combine it. I'm going to put you straight on Bob Dylan. We're going to get Heaven's Door straight to Bob Dylan, and Bob Dylan's going to be on, and Bob Dylan will be on this shit, and we'll just go. And you know what? Seriously,
you told me that 2 years ago, and we still haven't. made that.
No, we haven't, because I haven't gotten to the point. But just think of this: I go every Tuesday and Thursday, right at 8:30. We're gonna own that shit at one point, but we're gonna split it. Sometimes it'll be both of us. Sometimes it'll be you. Sometimes it'll be me. But when it's you on, I'll be booking shit, and when it's me on, you'll be booking shit, and then we'll do shit together. Stuff. You say stuff, I say shit.
I say stuff because it's politically correct, and you can say that in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah,
of every video that
but
comes
we
out.
could say shit now because we're like fucking 2 hours balls deep.
Sure.
Hey,
Never
it's
heard
just
of
so
the
you know,
FCC.
everybody who's on here tonight, I love you guys. I love you, John. I love
Oh,
you,
yeah.
Walker. Thank you so much for supporting us. I love you. I love you, Jimmy. And Matt, there's
Hey, can I just
Matt. There's not.
it sounds like you need 3 passes now. It sounds like you need 3 passes now for this New Orleans thing because you need a chauffeur. It sounds like.
So I can get you in, Jimmy. I can get you in easily as the cameraman.
There you go. I'd say we're gonna need it. I'll have to get one of those helmets with the GoPro. You know.
Yep.
And that's the
Jimmy,
cameraman.
don't let it fool you
Put it
because
right on your cap, Jimmy. That'd be hilarious.
when you go to the evening tasting, everybody and their mother walks. So you should still be tasting at the
Hey,
evening.
there's Macaulay.
Macaulay!
Oh yes.
Incredible, man.
What up, brother?
Yeah, we're broadcasting live from fucking Applebee's in Savannah, Georgia right now.
And it's always a good time with you there, my friend.
Macaulay, you're in New Orleans,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, Dr. Minton's been a busy man. We're gonna schedule a cage match with the Ice Agents down there in fucking New Orleans, and then show them what the Ninth Ward's all about, if you know what I'm saying. And I've got a very special gator tour for them to go see. And apparently they're just leaving AR-15s in the shitters, so we might get us a few guns while we're down there too. Hell, who knows what's gonna happen?
Put my name on one.
Oh my god.
Oh my God.
Can't wait to hang
It's
out
just
in
like-
Philly in New Orleans.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, but me and Matt's in the green up there. We're coming to New Orleans.
Good. Well,
Cleveland on
Thursday
the
night
rocks.
we're doing our dinner at Brasa and importing all this exotic wood to cook the meat with, and then followed by that we're doing our ghost tour. Last year we did it at the Oddfellows Cemetery. I'm trying to get into the one that Mary LaVue's at this year. So I don't know.
So what's
Someone else is setting that up.
What's the price? Can you get me and Matt in? Because we're flying in.
Usually it's blood in, blood out, or firstborn.
Say, hey, if you're willing, I'll cut my palm. If you cut your palm, we'll be blood brothers.
That's not what that means, Tiny. You got
I
to
know
kill someone to
exactly.
get in. Okay.
I know what it means. I just went a little bit different way.
Yep. Just kidding. My family's not in no Irish associations out of Chicago.
I mean, my kids are the same age as you.
It's right next door to me.
I'd have to sacrifice a
Macaulay, I
you
found
to
your-
get there.
we haven't finalized the ticket price on the dinner yet. I don't remember. It's pretty fucking reasonable for what it is. Like, it's the best whiskey dinner. I mean, that chef is awesome. Like, it should have been like a $500 dinner, but I think it was like $100 or $125. I mean, we did like 8 courses. All of it was paired with infused with the wood, with the whiskey, and then we had pours with it.
So if we're
Okay, that
supposed
sounds
to get there
awesome.
at 9:38 in the morning, because we're leaving at 5:30.
Yeah, we're gonna
We'll be there at 9:38 on Thursday. So how
Get
do
you
I?
a cheeseburger and take a little disco nap, Tiny.
We want to. We're in, and then afterwards, you're headed over to the Thursday night hotel thing.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Okay, so we'll just know we want in, see what you can do to help me out, and it's not like we won't pay. We're in.
Yeah, those tickets will drop soon. Like we're still setting it up. It's Mardi Gras right now, so they're fucking busy as hell down there.
Same thing with Tracy trying to get the book up.
They got all
book
those
the
fat
hotels.
fucks running around trying to swoop up the Mexicans and the fucking Vietnamese now. So
Hey, I'm going.
they got a bunch of shit going on.
I'll go down there and try and get them to get me to be a Jew.
Well, they don't. Are you trying to get kosher bacon again, Tiny? I told you can't order that set.
I just eat the regular bacon. I don't need kosher. No, my family is like I'm like 51%. Whatever the name of that, like my heritage is that. My dad was German Catholic and my mom was Jewish, and so I've got both of it. One half of the family's, Christian Catholic, and the other half of the family's Jewish. So I'm anything you want me to be at the time I need to be it.
All right, well, L'chaim then. How about that?
Yep, there you go. L'chaim. So how's things going? What's your drop at New Orleans? What are you doing?
We're gonna be dropping some of the honey barrels.
Oh,
Yep.
Damn, brother.
So
Yeah,
That's awesome.
so
I think that's probably gonna be the first release in the country of it.
so I need to get you on like an actual podcast. Not at the end of the night when it's whatever. I'm fine with that, but at the same time, man.
Well, you better buy a couple bottles because I know you're gonna get drunk and then start pouring the shit to everyone in the fucking lobby. And I know the playbook.
I will pour shit in the lobby on Thursday. 100%. Last year, that's where you were like checking in. I was in the lobby just interviewing everybody, right?
That cameraman has.
Well, we'll see if my publicist will allow an interview this time around.
Yeah, right. I was leaving on Sunday and you were like, I like hit you up on, you were just like right outside and you're just like, I'm like, is Macaulay gonna live?
Yeah, I prevailed.
I was just like, holy shit.
Well, we've won all those fucking awards and shit and best in show and swept everything. So I had to go, celebrate until, I don't know, 4:00 in the morning.
Yeah,
or whenever.
with a band after you were at the horse races. Yeah,
Exactly.
Man, that was fucking awesome. And you're still here. And definitely when I saw you in Ohio, you're fucking killing it. And you're such a unique blend of living life and intelligence. So what impressed me the most, and I'll tell you that when I was there when you were in Ohio at the barrel pick, you didn't even need your computer. You know your inventory because you've got it memorized. I mean, for fuck's sake. It's just like, that's the aspect of you of that's different because you know everything of what you've got, you know what you want to do and how you're doing it. And everything that you keep producing is spectacular whiskey, and you are single-handedly taking the next generation into whiskey, but you're also extending out what whiskey can be.
Just wait until my doctoral thesis comes out because I'm doing like whiskey cultural exchange, ecology, fucking all kinds of shit wrapped into one. So I'm gonna have to go to some exotic places and get some more exotic woods and bring it back to the lab.
You gotta keep doing that Ripple Rye, because let me tell you, the Ripple Rye I got it to shoot it, and then we didn't even shoot it yet, and it's almost gone, and I have to find another one, and I can't find one anywhere. So I'm like, this is cool. But John has me a batch 2 from Chicago, so I have another one coming over there.
Did you get batch 2 or did you get the Ohio batch?
This is the Ohio batch, but I got batch 2 coming because I can't find another Ohio batch to do the shot on. I gave him a sample of it,
and that's
what samples at the Master Beer event.
Well, you'll have to do it side by side on it because, like, I think I fucking made the Ohio batch better than the other one for some reason.
So save that.
I have it coming, so I'll let you know. And I wanted to know the same thing. She's like, Matt, you have both? And I'm like, I don't have them both yet, but I will. I'm like, I'll try them and let you know what I think. Like, this is awesome.
Hey, that's the thing, Matt, because if Anne's got a bottle, if you need to do it side by side and she's got a bottle, you got something she doesn't have.
Yeah, and then Blanc Blend Volume 3 is in the blending tank right now. That's gonna drop soon.
That was my favorite with the Blunt Blend, yeah.
And then
The Blunt Blend.
Can't go into details because I got me one of them non-disclosure agreements signed, but I'm about to buy me a bunch of barrels, and I'm going out to Colorado to buy some more barrels, and then going to France and buying more barrels, and then I'm starting another company called fucking Noble Arts for start importing fucking brandies and tequilas and koala bears and all kinds of shit.
Man,
if you get a penguin, let me know. I need a penguin in Cleveland. Like, I want the first penguin in Cleveland.
So so Macaulay, as you keep getting bigger and you keep getting bigger, just remember, you made me. So you always got to come back.
I remember you're one of my fucking Frankenstein children.
Yes, I am, but also it's just like, you know, my favorite question you asked me. So we were doing that tasting for Kentucky Bourbon Festival when we did that barrel pick with the Justins. And you were sitting there and you were like selling Justin the ryes because you already sold all the bourbons. And Justin looks at me and he goes, "What do you think, Tiny? You last year you didn't like rye. What do you think of it now?" And it's just like, well, when it comes to Macaulay and his picking, it's actually my palate has changed, and so definitely there's some shitty ryes out there, but if you know what you're doing with rye, you can do some spectacular things. And this is insane because nobody's doing this shit with rye.
I mean, I travel all over the country and people are like, I don't like rye whiskey. And it's just like, okay, you like Cinnamon Toast Crunch? They're like, yeah. I'm like, all right, try the Amberana. Oh, you like that one? Let's try the Ripple Rye. Oh, you don't like rye? Try the Blunt Blend. Like,
you don't like rye that you had.
No, but there's some ryes, some ryes are messed up. Okay, there's no doubt. You can fuck up rye, but
well, that's why I don't buy that shit.
No, I'm kidding.
I let other.
But you did that. I mean, Whiskey Thief does with Kelly Tennille. She does I mean, the whole thing there. They do everything. I just learned.
Their whole team. Walter's amazing. My ex-wife works there now, Lisa Wicker. So.
Yeah, they freaking, if you know what you're doing, you can nail it. And definitely it's like I will challenge CT to drink this Amberana rye. What else is in there? There's something else. It's Amberana.
I already did. It's maple.
I put some pixie dust in there and some unicorn blood in there.
Whatever the hell this is, you're right.
It.
You're right.
Worth it.
No, this Ohio one is fan-fucking-tastic.
My God, Jeff, me and Macaulay are sitting at a table across from you in New Orleans. You are going to be so off the game, bro. It's going to be so fun.
No.
Be so fun.
I will be on my game for Macaulay, that's for sure.
By the way, we're drinking those ryes. Just finish right.
Well, I'm definitely going to need a bodyguard down in New Orleans. I think the fucking Campari hit squads after my ass, and somewhere from the Buffalo people too.
I'll be there.
Yeah. Hey, there you go.
Hey, me and Matt will be there. We'll hang. We'll definitely hang. I can't.
If you don't give me a cameraman pass, you can give me a security pass. I could be a security.
Yeah, he does that at the bars down there.
Dude, yeah.
Maybe get me one. I'll
Side.
fucking get down there. I'm a big
I got a
motherfucker.
30 units of security
Man,
on it.
I got fucking robbed at the Orlando whiskey festival. Fucking it was like from I don't even remember, like 3 to 10:30. I tried to get these people to watch the booth. Everyone's so fucking drunk. They're trying to steal shit off of their tables. I walked back and someone stole $2,000 worth of shit from me.
Like
And the fucking
bottles?
festival organizer was a huge asshole about it. And we got into a little tiffy. And then the police showed up and told him to fuck off and that I was a victim of a felony crime. And let's just say I had to call the families together. And I'm not sure if that festival is going to be happening again because
Macaulay,
they stopped another
Macaulay,
bunch of other
we need
brands.
to talk.
And then my one of my associates is on the board of the Orlando Science Center, and that's been the host place of it. And let's just say I don't know if that agreement's going to get renewed.
I
Put it
like
this-
when you're saying it,
Macaulay,
Macaulay. All I hear is
Macaulay,
like the
do you know what
Godfather
kind of
music playing.
that story right there? Where you went wrong? Do you realize if someone stole $2,000 worth of shit from you,
Oh,
you know what that?
I wasn't even mad about the fucking whiskey. It was the organizer, Matthew something. If you're listening out there, give me a call. You didn't return my calls or text messages because he told me I was done. I was never allowed to come back there. He was going to ruin me and my brand. And you can imagine how that conversation went.
Wait,
You know what?
Macaulay,
actually
where
let
the
him
fuck
talk and
were
just
you?
listen,
You
'cause
were in
I don't think-
Orlando, and somebody in Orlando told somebody from who presides in Lexington, Kentucky, that they're gonna ruin their brand.
I was born in fucking Orlando, Florida, too.
But
so
they
that
can't
was
fucking ruin you in Kentucky.